live and hello, if Chicago Bulls chat party chat. We're coming live here today as scheduled to discuss to just wrap up the season, the good and the bad, and what we think the Bulls need to, where they need to make adjustments going into the playoffs, and and basically, overall, it's been a long road. It's been a long road ahead for us, or shall I say, a long ride for us, because between the Bulls losing to what was that? They lost to the Cavs. That was LeBron when LeBron hit the miracle shot. From then, that was pretty much the last time we really had a good team, to be honest with you. um, the three alphas, that was Fugazi. Yeah, what's his name? My boy that everybody just, I mean, not everybody, a lot of people hate, but he the one dragged the Bulls into the playoffs. To be honest with you, Nico dragged the Bulls into the playoffs with that hot March. He had a hot month, and but we just want to like I said, break it down a little bit, go over where we what how the season played out, what we think the Bulls have to do to make some adjustments, and who we think personnel wise can help this team going forward, at least now and even in the future, if that comes to that. So without further ado, some of you guys obviously know Will, aka Gary Indiana Jones, Curtis Buster Brown, celebrity singing at the United Center and everything. But I ain't
Right. Okay.
brother
Yeah,
David.
what's the story behind that? Yeah.
Yeah, where the clips at, man? What's
Man,
up?
man.
Where the clips at, man?
It was pregame show. They didn't record it.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah. That's why I record my own stuff, man. I don't care. I don't leave that up to nobody. But yeah, David, or you want to go ahead and get us started here, and I'm gonna start tagging some people.
Well, before we get started, I just want to thank everyone for another fun season. We ain't had a season like this in a while. So when I created this group, Dave, how long has it been? Almost 10 years?
It's been a minute. I was thinking about that. Definitely the whole Rose era, wasn't it? Wasn't it like the whole Derrick Rose era? I feel like
It was a Derrick Rose era. And
Yeah,
maybe his rookie season.
right.
Wow, you've been established
It
that
might have
long?
been before that.
I feel like it was the
Yeah.
whole time Derrick Rose was in there. Yeah. At least that
Yeah.
long. Maybe before that. Yeah. It's been a while.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy? The Lakers been paying Luol Deng. Every year we just
This is the last season, I think.
Yeah, this is the last year. They just finished that up. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for participating. It was a really fun season. We went through some ups and downs. Um, I'm not going to segue into that, but yeah, I appreciate everybody. We always have ebb and flows and how busy we are, and we got new additions to the group, and I love watching CJ streams when I can catch it. That has been a fun part of our group. So, Jay, I cannot thank you enough for getting him acclimated with us, and hopefully he'll jump in on the Zoom today. And Coach, he always says he don't be in here, he don't never do. Timothy,
I really do hope he come in.
Yeah,
I
think we have to. I think we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to put a Jedi mind trick on Coach. Talk about him a little bit, then maybe he'll get on here.
Yeah, because everything he says is wrong every day.
Oh man!
I call him the basketball philosopher.
Yeah.
Everything he said.
No, you've been coaching as long as he has.
Mm,
He's seen so many different things. So
Right.
I always look forward to seeing his input. He's always going to look at things from a different perspective.
That's true, man. Well, I just want to say, I appreciate you for starting the group, man, and bringing me in there, and letting me rock with you and everything, and all of y'all. Of course, the group just keeps growing and new people adding their twist on things. It's just been fun, man. This definitely been the most fun year in a while. as far as actually watching the Bulls go,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, especially in the first half of
Maybe
the
not
season.
as late, but yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Who said that?
I did. I was talking to Salam just now.
Oh, oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Anyway, he's still connecting though. So
Oh,
Salam
okay.
behind me.
he
I'm
probably didn't hear a
already.
word I just said.
No, he probably didn't.
I just got in here. What's good, fellas?
I'm already broke my fast. He probably still waiting.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting on you. I think another hour.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum
Wow,
assalam.
we did this last year.
Huh?
Do you remember last year? Y'all had just finished y'all fast. The slime broke out in his plate. You got to eat.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah,
I'm about to
you're
break mine out this year. I didn't even eat yet, but I just
Watching the clock, and all of a sudden, you
right.
hit that plate.
I took me
Yeah.
I took me a little nap while I was watching this Brooklyn game, and I got up.
Yeah,
Okay, I was
Ali.
an hour left. I already read my little Quran and everything earlier, so now
He acting a fool, ain't
yeah, he is. Darius not going nowhere either.
he? Nah.
I was waiting on them to match up with each other. They did. I saw briefly. I don't. It wasn't. They started out with Bruce Brown on them
Yeah.
on Darius, and then they cross matched the kid Kogi or whatever his name. Matched
Yeah.
up Kyrie.
Koro.
Yeah, Carl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kogi. I'm thinking of the kid from Minnesota. And that similar last name.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting. But I'll tell you what. So they asked some questions, and out of all the people, out of all the
Turn the
teams
light.
we had to draw,
So what
Milwaukee.
you say,
That
Will?
was the last team. Milwaukee was the last team I wanted to draw.
Man,
Oh.
dude.
Right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't take this ideal for myself because Salam did his homework, and I went and looked at it too. Cook did do a good job on Giannis when he was when he played when he was on the team, and he did play, and we played Milwaukee
He's
earlier.
still here. He came back. Their season is over. He's back.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but I'm just hoping that Billy puts him on the playoff roster. So
I see.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
do you see that?
We gotta start from the beginning.
That Casey Johnson tweet that I posted, where they said
didn't see
like the Bulls participated in a training camp
Yeah.
kind of
yeah.
I read about that. Yeah.
I did see that.
everybody involved.
Except
I'm
Matt
like,
Thomas.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of wondered because they said like everybody, and then somebody had said like, well, it goes without saying that Lonzo wasn't there, you
Right.
know, but they said everybody, we'll see.
Well,
Mhm.
what's the name didn't get to participate either.
They said everybody except
Matty
Matt Thomas.
Ice. Matty Ice didn't get to
Yeah.
participate.
Yeah, Matty Ice is sat down. So
Yeah,
Chance
well, we gotta look back. of
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we
yeah.
started from.
You're right. We're starting in the end. Let's go
And
back.
I want to get past this. So,
Yep.
so in the beginning of the season, I mean, this was the most exciting team in the NBA to watch.
Mhm.
You know, we had
CTV.
all these dunkers. They throwing alley oops. They couldn't miss. I don't know whether I should credit it to people being on COVID protocol and teams weren't fully staffed or whatever. And
No,
for us
I
to
don't
take
think
this
that was
turn, it's just kind of. I just don't get it. I mean, I understand we dealt with injuries, but everybody dealt with that.
Mhm.
Or people being out. We didn't have. I mean, our roster has not been consistent. They've been playing with each other long, and I feel like Billy has been kind of slow to make adjustments.
Mhm.
But we saw that when he was out with his COVID protocol and his assistant stepped in, we started seeing some little differences that the way that guy was coaching. But we never could have imagined how we would have turned around after the All-Star game. Somebody else throw something out there.
I don't think it was. I think we didn't realize. I don't think we realized how big of, at least me. I don't think we realized how big an impact Lonzo was going to have, and how big an impact Lonzo not being there was going to have.
Right.
Like I didn't realize what you see. Like everything he does well, that's what we're missing. Like we're not getting turnovers as much. We're not getting in transition as much. We're not moving the ball as much. We're playing ISO. We're having trouble rebounding. Like all the stuff we ain't making threes. Everything he's really good at, we don't have right now. We're not stopping the
There's one
pick and
thing.
roll at the
Him and
point of
Caruso
attack.
talking on defense.
But
Yeah.
him and
The way them
Caruso
boys
together
talk on
is
defense,
just together. They
Yeah.
transform the team, and so without one or the other, you could see the big, especially Lonzo. You could see the big difference with the ball movement. We're not moving the ball like we were.
Man, we ain't
We're not
moving
getting
ball.
all them turnovers. We're not getting them easy baskets. He gives you at least 3-4 easy baskets every game, just with hitting steals and or rebound and kicking it up. Like we're just missing that, man. He's
Well,
a
with Lonzo out there,
issue.
when Lonzo was out there, the team ran them lanes harder because they
Yeah, they did.
deliver that ball. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
And it was contagious.
Yeah,
People pass, even Zach passing. Like everybody was.
like cats was running go routes.
Yeah.
You know, because they knew that's what they were gonna get hit with it.
And we was shot slammer jammer, Stacey was calling it. We ain't seen that in months.
I mean, like we haven't seen that dunk contest energy in game. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I
It
also
reminds
think
me of some of my old relationships. You know, it started off good for the first 4 or 5 months. All of a sudden,
The honeymoon
know.
phase.
Yeah, it collapsed, man.
I can't stand her. She can't stand me.
The funny
Yeah,
thing is the defense went south a long time ago, actually. Like it
Mhm.
went south like from the beginning of the year. It was well, I think when Caruso went out in December, you could see the defense started to go down.
Yeah.
But we started offense went crazy. And then
Yeah.
I remember Lamar had that historic February and all that. So
Mhm.
the offense was crazy. The defense was going down. So we were still winning. And then everything fell down. So it's like, man, now it's
Yep.
I don't know if we can beat anybody right now.
Well, we
that.
started depending on that hero ball after
Mhm.
DeMar did what he did.
that's the
Yeah.
problem. That's the problem right there. It was too much ISO, too much
much.
standing around, too much, and not doing what they were doing in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they
Sure.
had it, I think it's something to say. I think it's something to having a chip on your shoulder because you feel that you got something to prove. I think that says a lot because in the beginning of the year they definitely had a chip on their shoulder
They sure did.
because of what the media was saying, because of what some of
Right.
the coaches told. Even the coaches were voting that they'd be the worst team or some crazy stuff, and so they had a chip on their shoulder. So they were out to prove a thing. But then once they got rolling, they maybe it got to their head a little bit, and they thought they could relax some.
Maybe.
Let DeMar cook, and but you have to make adjustments. When other teams make adjustments, you have to make adjustments. So that's to Gary's point of Billy being able to make some adjustments, but then the players have to execute too. I mean, you can make all adjustments in the world if you're missing wide open shots.
Yeah.
So that plays factor. But like I told the fellas before we started the live, I'm glad they hit the wall before.
Right.
Oh man, I hope we didn't lose our live.
No,
I
it looks
still
like
say
it's still
live.
Okay, maybe that's my device. Anyway, I'm glad that we hit the wall.
Live? I thought it said live. Okay.
Huh?
Let's say live. I thought it said live. Okay. Hey, Kurt, before I chime in, you were trying
and
to.
you know what? My thing is, man, I think we never got our chemistry back after all of the injuries, man. I just think we never, with this player out here and then this player out there, and with Ball and Caruso being out at the same time, a lot of that defensive load fell on Ayo, and Ayo's a rookie, and Devontae Green. And so I think we just never got our chemistry back after all the injuries, man. So, and then I think also Billy Donovan could have did some better rotations. Seeing that last game, I'm wondering why was Troy Brown Jr. out the lineup?
I was thinking the same thing.
And why was he out the lineup all this time, man? Him and Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, because
DJ, if anything, DJ should have been in there because of his defense and rebounding and leaping ability.
But both of those guys went from they started, from time to time to getting DNP CD, and it was no like rhyme or reason. With Matty Ice, it's different because there's a log jam at that position. So you understand that. Also, like, it's not beating up on Kobe, but Kobe hasn't shot the rock well.
Nope.
You know what
As of
I'm
late,
saying?
no, he sure hasn't.
If he's hot, he's hot. If he's hot, if he's cold, he's cold.
Yeah, he's
So here,
feast or
You know what I
famine.
think is the problem?
here's
I think-
to Kobe getting hot.
Right.
Because we're going to playoffs. We need him, man. We need him. Somebody asked on another broadcast earlier, do we need Kobe or DeSumo to get hot? Or not necessarily hot, but just to start playing well. I'm of the thought I would like both of them to be playing well going into the playoffs.
Mhm.
Because if
They-
both of them
they
are,
can
About
coexist.
being a little more aggressive.
yeah, if both of them are playing well, man.
Pat,
Yeah.
Pat too. We need
So what I
Pat.
really think is in the beginning, when this was a new collective group, and you see this with teams, they're moving the ball because nobody wants to be a ball hog. They're trying to respect each other on the court. Everybody's trying to be inclusive, and that's what we were seeing. Everybody's trying to get along and play well together. But then when they start getting into some games where they needed that hot hand, of course, we all thought Zach would be the man, and then
Mhm.
DeMar stepped up, and being a good dude and understand that he was a veteran and he was effective, Zach gave him the keys. But then now it's got to that point where this happens to a lot of teams. Then they just start looking and depending on DeMar
Yeah.
to do everything.
They start deferring to him, yeah. Like
Mhm.
overly
Yeah, they're
deferring.
not moving.
Like,
Yeah.
here,
But
DeMar.
remember the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, we used to be like, damn, can everybody shoot?
Yeah,
Because it was a threat everywhere.
right.
So teams now, all they have to do is play deep on Zach and DeMar and be heavy on them and pay attention to Booch. And we ain't got nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
hopefully,
don't like.
hopefully, P. Will fills that gap, man. Because
Yeah.
we need him. He gonna have to be aggressive. He just gonna have to take over. Hey, man, tomorrow I got this one. He just gonna have to just do it.
I mean, and
Well, the
to your
thing is,
point,
they've been encouraging him to do
Yeah.
do exactly what he did against Minnesota. So with him, it's not a ability thing. It's a
It's a
whether or not
mentality
that
thing.
mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't care.
need him to
if
take
he
15
has
shots.
30 Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna expect 35 points from him every time, but I like the decisiveness he showed. I like
Yeah.
just playing basketball, just being
Yeah.
instinct.
getting
And
to the
Being
rack,
active.
into the rack.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know about you guys, but I was talking to somebody, maybe it was you, Kurt, but like that, he always, if you notice Pat Will, when he was bringing up the ball, he always has that left-handed stutter step every time. I was like, brother, you need to go into your bag now, but he started doing that, a scissor dribble, you know what I'm saying, switching directions, driving right hand, okay, you got to keep the defense guessing, so that tells me that I saw against Minnesota that you do have that in your bag.
He
So
do.
like, go to
He
that,
was impressive yesterday. Oh,
go
wait,
to
man.
that second shelf in your toolbox, man. Take that little rack out of there, set it to the ground, and go and see what's in there.
Yeah, he's got
14 free throws.
he's got skill. I mean, we
He's got
saw on
14
full
free
display
throws.
yesterday. He's got skill. He's got athleticism. I mean,
Mhm.
he's doing stuff that I didn't know he could do. And I'm sitting there like, no wonder Acme like that dude.
And a lot of that was on with the number one pick on him in the same draft.
Mm. Yeah, he
He
did
was
some
the
impressive
14th
things
time.
yesterday or the other day. I was impressed. There was some things he did that I didn't even know he could do. And I knew he could do some stuff, but some of that stuff he did when he was finishing left and all that, I was like, some of the
Yeah.
footwork, I didn't see that
Oh, yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was finishing
Yeah.
left and spinning the ball off
Yeah,
with the
some of
finish,
that
and I was
was-
like, oh,
Just the
okay.
assertiveness, getting to the line, driving to the basket. Like,
Right.
he don't have to shoot all the time. When people say be aggressive, they don't mean you got to shoot. Just
No.
attack, man. Like
Attack the basket.
drive. Yeah,
And it comes down to instincts too,
be
because
active.
it comes down to
Yeah.
basketball IQ and instincts. And I'm not saying he doesn't have any basketball IQ, but this is me. I don't care what play we running. The coaches have to cuss me out and take me out the game. I don't care what play we running. If I'm on a corner and that whole lane to the basket opens up, I'm cutting.
He looks.
I'm not standing on the line. I'm not standing on the 3-point line. I'm cutting. That's just me. I got an open lane, and they done went and double team Levine or DeMar or whoever, and I got an open lane to the basket. I'm cutting.
Yeah, what I saw Sunday.
Forget the play.
What I saw Sunday is that kid is more than a hockey assist kind of a player.
Right.
Where, like there are times where like he'll get the ball, he won't even square his shoulders to the basket. He's looking to get rid of it as soon as he catches it.
Yeah, right.
That part
right.
I don't like.
I
You
don't
know,
like that.
Like now
Yeah.
that we've seen it, okay. Now you have to be a threat out there. Even if you don't take the shot, at least make the play.
Make a threat, yeah. Be a threat.
Like at least and if sometimes, you know, I don't know what the solution might be. Maybe I think probably arbitrarily when he's out on the floor, at least like every like third or fourth possession, you know, when he's trying to kick that out, I would put some quick hitting plays in for him. If I'm Billy Donovan and Fleming and those guys, call his number every third or fourth play, where you can't give up the ball. You got to make your decision. You know what I'm saying? Let DeMar and Zach take a possession off. Because now
I would like
These are the things that need to happen during the regular season. It's like now we're here in the postseason. Do you start trying to do things, you know, experiment at this point in the game now? I don't know. I don't know the right answer there.
probably not, but I would like to see him use him a little more than just stand in the corner. Like maybe make him a screener. Let him be the role man. He can get up and catch alley oops,
Pick and roll, like
that, or step out and shoot. Like
Let him bring the ball up.
Let him be the ball handler on the pick and rolls.
He can definitely bring the ball up. Yeah, he can handle the rock.
But I'm worried about Zach, honestly. I always felt like we had a chance because we had Zach and DeMar, but we really don't have Zach right now. Like this is not Zach LaVine that we've been seeing all these years.
Yeah, his knee really
not the
bad.
same player.
Yeah.
You got games where he's taking 7 shots or whatever it was the other day.
Like he just kind of gave up.
That's not
like
Zach LaVine.
It looked like he just like gave it up to DeMar, man. Like
No, I think it is his knee.
Yeah,
I think it's his
I
knee.
think it's the knee. Because what he just missed like 3 games. Maybe 2 or 3 games. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm hoping that he's back to somewhat normal. Man, shoot some quarters on that thing, do something. Because we need him. We need him to be something like Zach LaVine to have a chance.
Yeah, get a shot. Get that shot. Yeah, because I can speak of on injuries. I haven't had like a severe knee injury or anything like that. But playing ball when like I've had hamstrings pulls. I have some bad ones, man. It took me a long time to get myself. And I'm talking about just playing softball. It took me a long time to get myself where I can go after the ball and make plays like I'm used to, and run the bases. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine in basketball, man, just some injuries just throw your whole game off, man. Yeah. And he's been the good thing.
I don't think Caruso is normal either. He doesn't.
I don't think so either. I don't think so.
Whatever is the back or whatever wrong with him, Caruso have not been the same player either.
Yes, it's back.
Yeah.
But with him trying though, LaVine knew. See, this is what I was telling people. LaVine knew that him being on the court as a threat allows DeMar to do what he do. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't just, oh well, LaVine ain't on the court. We can just double up DeMar. And so LaVine, as far as I'm concerned, pushed himself to get out there and push through this season. Yeah, he could have, did an 8th Anthony Davis. Oh man, I got a broke toenail, man. I got to sit down. He could have did all that kind of stuff, but
what the F you want him to do? Like Anthony Davis.
but I just think that the injuries did definitely slow him down. It's unfortunate because we have not really had a chance to see the full potential of this team because they have not been healthy. And I ain't just talking about Zach. I'm talking about Lonzo. I'm talking about AC. Pat Will just coming back. Can you imagine if we had everybody relatively healthy, what this team would have been like? Oh my goodness.
I mean, like Victor Oladipo the other day just dropped like 35 or 40 or something like that for Miami.
42.
42,
42.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he's a wild card for them. And real quick, Brooklyn just clinched number 7, so they got Boston. You know, Cleveland's waiting on the winner of Atlanta and Charlotte. You know, but this is going to be, you know, a interesting thing. One key thing is, like, if you notice with DeMar, the late in the seasons, particularly in the second half, teams are switching up their defensive schemes. They're
Right.
sending him double teams from various spots on the floor, and it kind of gets him guessing. And it forces. I've seen DeMar have some bad turnovers, you know, with that. Maybe they should, even though the mid range is his thing, you know, I know that's his bread and butter, that free throw line extended and so forth. Maybe we should look at try to get him some action, like going from short corner to short corner in the mid range area. You know what I'm saying? Where mix it, have them guessing. But more importantly, the team needs to understand where those double teams are coming from, coming to DeMar. So if the double team comes off you, okay, DeMar know where to find you. Okay, you should be following that double team right to the cup, you know, something to that extent. But if it's a training camp type of practice that they had, I'm sure those guys are going over that stuff, you know, to see what happens.
Well, you know what, man, it's real obvious, and at least to me, and I think to many folks, when the All Star break happened and teams had time to rest, it seemed like teams came prepared for what the Bulls were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we could never get into whatever we wanted to do.
Right.
They took it all away. I mean, it's like clear as day. And then there's another thing that I'm always concerned with, especially towards the end of the season. I'm trying to remember who spoke on this. It might have been Gilbert Arenas. And he started talking about these incentivized contracts. And that becomes a major distraction on how guys play towards the end of the season. So when you hear stuff about Zach not taking that many shots, 7 in the game, or you don't know what it is in these people's contracts where they need to protect an average, shoot a certain percentage, field goal percentage.
Mm-hmm.
That is a real problem. I think that's why the Lakers are not in the playoffs right now.
Westbrook trying to get triple doubles. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever the incentive for the contracts, I mean, I know we talk about the Bulls, but when you look at what happened over there, and I'm glad we're not dealing with that, there ain't no way in the world people were sitting down, coming in when it was convenient to play. Some of the decisions they made for DNPs and how they played towards the end of the season, that there wasn't something behind.
Yeah, because I really want to know why Derek Jones and T-Roy was sitting down over there. I mean, they were like mere afterthoughts.
Yeah, man.
That's $9 million coming off the books next year.
What's that now?
That's about $9.5 million. They paying him about $9.5 million. Yeah.
Who? Troy?
Derek Jones Jr.
Oh, okay. DJ. Yeah. I like Derek Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they're not using them. That's a lot of money to pay somebody not to use it.
Yeah. Public service announcement. A group public service announcement. Apparently, some members have gotten themselves in hot water with Facebook that all their posts have to be pre-approved by the admins.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, please just be careful what you post, because we don't want to have to babysit your post and approve what you are posting. You know, we're all grown, so please be mindful of what your words you use. And but some of you obviously have been put on punishment by Facebook, not the group. Just want to let you know it's not us. So we'll get around to approving your posts as soon as we can.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, David.
But I will tell y'all, we are not removing posts. At least I haven't. Facebook is removing some of y'all posts. Some people that post stuff that they find offensive, Facebook will remove your posts. It's not us. So
I remove all Melvin's posts.
Yeah, the bots
I
don't know.
removed all of Melvin Washington posts. That's Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. No, I don't remove nothing either.
Hey, and let me ask y'all this: if let's say Zach Nee is bothering him all through the playoffs, and he still gets, and he just like never recovers. He have a bad playoff, whatever.
Mhm.
You still think they're gonna up that contract?
I don't know.
You still think they're gonna give him the max?
I hope
Yeah,
they,
I
but
think.
Concerned about his knee?
Well,
because
I
they
think.
made them wait
Yeah.
in order to make the moves that they did. You know, I mean, like if it wasn't for making the moves that they did, I could see them being concerned. But like they told him to wait. You know, granted his knee had an issue. You know, I just think that I think the Bulls, considering like what they're trying to reestablish, they need to eat that one. If that be the case, figure out a way how to eat it and get it done because y'all gave y'all word to him. You know, like I know there's no like you know
It's a verbal
kind
agreement.
of
Yeah.
contracts. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
so, Zach followed y'all lead, and he said, "Okay, go ahead and make y'all moves or whatever. We got to do right by Zach."
Got
You
to
know,
take care of him. Yeah.
yeah, he left money on the table. You know, this year where he could have got the max last year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like they told him, okay,
He actually couldn't have because the only way he could have is if we cleared cap space to do it. So
Well,
right.
that would be crazy.
they could have extended him. I don't know if they could have given him the max.
No, an extension they wouldn't have been able to give him nowhere near what he. It would
Right.
only be an increase on what he
He could have got
already
like
makes.
50, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
He
because
can,
he only
he can only get a
making,
certain amount more than what he makes. But if
But
they
it
want,
but it was still a risk for him to
yeah, but
Yeah.
for him to turn down that made sense. But if we really wanted to give him the real max, we would have to create a bunch of cap space. Just
Right.
gut the
Right.
team.
But
So
it
it
got
didn't
our
make-
whole team.
But it's still, like I said, it's still a risk because you could get, a devastating injury and you don't have a contract. So to Salam's point, yeah, they got to follow through. And I don't believe Acme is, they're snakes like that. They gave a wink and a nod, say, hey, let us build a team around you and then we'll take care of you. I think they
Yeah.
will. And it's not like,
a player, a player
not-
his caliber, he's not even making 20 mil. He making 19.
right. And I was going to say, it's not like Zach's knee can't be addressed because he said he's going to address it in the offseason. He just didn't want to do anything about it where it would make him during the season where it would cause him to miss significant time. But they're going to address it in the offseason and hopefully he can come back next season with, fresh and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I read correctly, the expiring contracts that are coming off after the season, they can afford to give him the max, but it puts them in a tough position where they ain't gonna be able to get anybody else. So they are gonna have to make moves. I agree with Salam. We're trying to change our reputation.
Yeah.
We always wondered if teams really didn't want to play for us when we had Garpax, and they really didn't want to play with us.
Yeah, we know that for sure now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you would be paying for a protection of our reputation and making our spot.
That's worth the
Like,
investment.
Mhm.
yeah. Unfortunately, I think they're gonna have to move Booch.
Got to.
They have to. I do like him, but I think we can live without him if you get the right people, a couple guys to replace him. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
contract expires next year, so that would be an attractive contract for people to pick up.
Hey, because
I agree.
like I said multiple times, Phoenix has all the leverage in the world to not give Ayton his money, and they already went all in with Miles with Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying? So they gave him his 90. Ayton was asking for his max, and they said he wasn't worth it. So it just so happened while Ayton was missing 20 some odd games, Phoenix kept rolling. Yeah, Phoenix kept winning. You know what I'm saying? They on pace to win. I think they won. It was 66, 67 games this year. You know what I'm saying? So like they able to get that done with Biombo and JaVale in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see what that looks like because Aiton, you know what I mean? Like if he can take like as he's younger than Zach, obviously, like I say take a 2-3 year deal come through. So allows like so all the contracts don't like have the same time period, don't expire at the same time, and we don't have to shoulder any large money at the same exact time, you know, that it could be financially soluble for the Bulls to do that. Did I drop off?
Somebody's calling on the Bulls chat party. Who in their right mind is calling on the Bulls chat
Oh,
party?
it was Tim.
That's,
It was
that's
Tim.
them.
The link is in the links is in the messenger, Tim.
For the app, so. Okay. How do we get out for the check? Different call. Hey, Tim, is the way you can click on the link?
Join the meeting ID, bro.
Tim act like he in the 1940s. He don't know nothing about none of this. He don't know nothing about Zoom. Come on, Tim. Come on, coach. You know better, man.
Hey. Now you know what? I haven't read anything, but it was something that
Zoom, brother.
I take my cues from Jesus.
um,
Trying to figure out how to get on.
Yeah, click that link.
you know,
Either hit that link or go to Zoom and hit that meeting ID. I use the meeting ID so it caches it in.
So the meeting ID is 86493277108. And
Yeah, let the whole world know.
I'm still on the chat.
Mute yourself, Salam.
Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't know what was going on.
yeah. Back to
Y'all just jumped off the call.
I wonder if the Bulls would consider moving Lonzo instead of Vooch, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Oh, I don't want that. Why?
No.
I'm not saying that that's what I want to see.
Not.
David ready to fight you now, Gary.
Man, I love
No,
Lonzo, man.
It's not what I want to see. But you know, Vooch and DeRozan wanted to play together, and they may want to protect that relationship.
That's too bad.
DeMar ain't feeding him. DeMar ain't feeding him.
But he only got one more year anyway. That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that I wanted to see it happen, but they might be in a tough position because they want to keep DeMar happy. They want to keep him here.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think DeMar is gonna, if they trade Vooch, DeMar gonna demand a trade or anything like that. DeMar is on a 3-year contract. He'll be 35, I believe, when his contract is up.
And Lonzo got a 4-year. He gonna be making north of 20 by the time it's over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if after the playoffs, and the long season, obviously, if the Bulls decide that the Vooch is not who they thought it was as far as the chemistry on this team, then maybe they might move him. I'm still at the point where I trust this front office to do what is necessary. They're not going to just sit on their hands if, let's say, things are not right and they need some adjustments needs to be made, and they're not going to do it. They're going to sit on their hands like Garpax used to do. I don't see them doing it. So if they think that they're looking at this and they're thinking, yeah, maybe we kind of reach on Vooch, I think they'll make some kind of move. I don't know for what. Maybe it's a couple of young cats, some young athletic cats who maybe can't score like Vooch, but they can get down on defense and rebounding. You know what I'm saying?
I would do that.
Right now,
I would do that.
everybody on this chat, we can
But also
we
keep
can
in mind-
drive to the land and get an uncontested shot.
Yeah, keep in mind, like we got the 18th pick this year. You know what
Man.
I'm saying?
Do we
I
have
like
that?
what's
Okay.
his name, man.
Yeah,
I like
I like
coffee. Man. I like coffee.
Kofi and Io from a chemistry
Coburn,
standpoint
man.
works, but from as far as like ability, we look at the way the Bulls play, and then you juxtapose
Kofi
that
ain't
with
gonna work.
the skill set of the big man in this class,
Yeah.
provided they declare. The kid from Kentucky who just won the Wooden Award. I forget how you pronounce his name. The
Smith,
big man.
not Coloco.
Sheba
No,
Wave.
Colombo was the other one from Arizona, but the kid from Kentucky,
Sheba Wave.
Smith?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oscar, I think his last name is.
Oscar Sheba Wave.
His first name is, excuse me. Yeah, but I like what he brings. You know, he's 6'9", but he plays like he's 6'10", 6'11". He plays bigger than what he is. There's a lot of 6'9" guys in the league that still play like they're legit 3 and 4 men. You know what I'm saying? So like get some more toughness or the activity in that 4 spot next to Vooch. You know what I mean? So I don't think Vooch needs some type of a hard hat guy next to him with the way he is. Vooch is not a hard hat, rugged kind of a player. You know, he's like he's kind of has a European kind of feel to his game. You know,
I would be okay with
Kofi
trading
though,
Vooch.
like considering that Embiid is look like about 320 or some shit. You know, but Kofi will probably fulfill that as a stopgap from a physicality standpoint, but I don't know how well he's going to be able to move his feet or stay out of foul trouble when facing an Embiid. To be
Well,
honest,
you know what? The thing with Kofi, we don't have to take him. We probably don't thing because in almost all of mock drafts I've seen, he wasn't even getting picked up in the first or second round. So he might be someone we can pick up like a post draft player.
yeah,
That's fine.
probably sign him on as a summer league squad or something like that after the draft. So he's not projected to be high, is what you're saying,
Nah.
No.
right?
The only one that's really up there high is Coloco.
Yeah,
But the rest of them, like my man from North Carolina, he's predicted like in the late
Baycott.
second round.
Baycott would be nice for us too, because he gets rebounds in traffic.
And a center from what team was that?
Duke.
No, not Duke.
Williams from
Hey.
Duke.
But he only 6'9" too. What's the team? I think it was on one of the Cinderella teams.
He was on a Cinderella team.
Nah, I can't think of his name though. It'll come back.
The big man from Michigan can shoot, but like I think if you pair him with Vooch, I mean he's tough. He can be a legit like 5-man. You know what I'm saying? Where Vooch likes to float out there a little bit. At least the middle will stay intact. You know what I mean?
We need I think we're having Zach and DeMar. We need a different kind of center. I like Vooch, but if we're gonna play the way we play, we need somebody just doing dirty work, rebounding.
You need a dog, right?
Yeah, we don't even need a guy like Vooch if we're gonna have these guys and play the way we play.
Need a defender, rim protector, a dog, a rebounder.
Lob threat.
And like if we can get a couple guys for Vooch to like make sure we got a nice little bench, like a shooter and a big dude who's active, that'd be good. I'd be all right with that. Although we gave up a lot to get Vooch, but it is what it is.
That's true. Yeah, we mortgaged it. You know.
So
As far as veterans, y'all might say crazy, man. I wouldn't mind having Lance Stevenson, man.
Nah. Yeah, you crazy.
I wouldn't mind having him, man.
But there's nobody to check him on this roster.
Found upon that.
Yeah.
I was thinking Patrick Beverly in the beginning of the season. I wished they pulled that trigger. I was actually looking for Whiteside too, because the two of those players didn't really make no money, but they're impactful. You already know what Patrick Beverly crazy ass is gonna do.
Yeah.
And then Whiteside, I mean, he's actually played his role.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody on this Zoom can get we can get a uncontested shot going to the hole. All we got to do is get around the guards, and people down there ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, honestly, Whiteside makes me feel like he just don't care. I personally, I would prefer a young, hungry dude. He may
Yeah.
not be the best shooter. He may not, but he's hungry. He can defend. He can block shots. He can clean up rebounds, and he a dog. He'll run with them. He'll run with them rabbits out there and get some lobs. You know what I'm saying? That's what this team needs. Yeah, it's cool that Vooch can shoot, but when he's not shooting, when he's not hitting, and most of the time, in my opinion, he should be establishing himself in the paint and in the
Yes.
post. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now against a team like the Bucks, that's not something you want to do because now what's his name is going to hang down there? What's his name? Robin Lopez.
Yeah.
Brooklyn,
You know,
It seems like Toronto, Toronto at first, like we have their number, but at the same time, strangely enough, they have Philly's number.
Right.
You know.
So what I'm getting at is that there most teams that we play, Vooch should be establishing himself in the post. And I don't know if it's the coaching or the players, but somebody is going away from it. When he does establish himself, then they go away from it. Like my basketball IQ is simple. I don't stop doing what's working until the other team make me stop.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
And when the
That's
other
how
team
I-
make me stop, then I'll adjust. But if
My grandfather used to say, "Keep going to the well till it gets
yeah,
dry."
if Vooch
what he
is
said.
if Vooch is in the paint and eating, I don't care if he has 60 points. If they ain't gonna stop him,
Keep going it.
I'm gonna
Until
keep-
you stop it.
I'm gonna keep dumping it down there until they do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
They always go away from it. I don't understand why. He can
Yeah.
have 25 points in the first half. They still not gonna do it in the
And
second.
that's the
half.
problem.
They stop feeding them. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole balance thing is overrated. I wonder if this is coach, but that whole balance thing is overrated whereas in what's working. Again, like I said, okay, there's a plan, there's a game plan, but then there's what's working,
Yeah.
and whatever's working, that's what I'm going with. Who just joined us?
This is Tim, bro.
Hey, what's up, coach?
What's up?
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, y'all. What's going on, y'all? I had to do the best I could, so I got some audio. I'm sorry.
All right, well, that's
No,
better
no.
than nothing. Yeah, we
It's
were
certainly
just
better. It's certainly better than the way I look at this time of the day. I tell you that.
well, we were just about to get into what adjustments we believe the Bulls should be trying to make, coaching wise and player wise, going into the playoffs. We've kind of went over the season already. So, what are your thoughts on what adjustments need to be made? What personnel would you like to see, especially against the Bucks? And then we can talk about what if we get past the Bucks. Then we can talk about who you like to see.
I'm intrigued by how teams quickly, immediately after All-Star break, right before the All-Star break, in fact, decided that they've had enough of everybody else doing well while DeRozan was able to do what he did in the mid-range, elbow in, foul line, with people on him, with double teams, against double teams, and everything he did. He did very well. Others were able to do as much, if not more, than they generally do, and it appeared to be because of defense. A lot of people seem to believe that that the Bulls don't play defense anymore. They're doing what they're told. They're doing what they're able to do, and I think they're probably even reaching their capability. But what they don't have is the right approach, given what the other teams are doing. And that approach is, if you don't want Vucevic to drop, then tell the dude don't drop, and make sure he doesn't drop. And if he continues to drop, take his ass off the floor. The problem with that is that they go down on the other end, and the ball finds Vucevic, and everybody gets mad because he goes 2 for 9, 2 for 10 from the three. So I think everything is done from the standpoint of how they want to approach basketball games
Mhm.
until they get to the defensive end, and that has something to do with Billy being an offensive coach, and his extent of being an offensive coach is all about having players who can play offense. He did it in Oklahoma City. He had 4 guys that looked to get baskets, and that's how they won games until they got as far as they were going to get. That's not going to work in the Eastern Conference this year with these players under these health conditions that everybody had to experience and either overcome or they didn't. The way that they overcame or didn't overcome.
Coach, can I ask you a
That's
question?
how you. Yeah.
And for me, and I'll just go ahead and make it clear because you may have missed the
Who is
point.
it?
Just Jay. I really don't want to see Vooch shooting threes. Be honest with you. I mean, unless the defense is just dropping back off of him, and he got to shoot it. That's fine. But as far as him just posting up in the corner and all that nonsense, I don't want to see that. In my opinion, the dude should be posting up somebody in the paint, or at least trying to establish himself down low. Now, obviously he can't hang out down there if the other guys are trying to make lanes. But my point is, most of his shots should come in the mid range or the low post, in my opinion, not from the 3, yanking up. The dude, his percentage got to be in the toilet. So why would you continue to do that? And to me, that's on the coach too, because he's putting them in position to do that stuff instead of telling him, "Hey, you need go ahead, you guys. We need to get Vooch going down there in the post." What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I
Well,
think.
you don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. If you're talking to somebody else, that's fine.
No, this is Salam. But briefly,
Hey, bro.
how you doing there, Coach? The worst thing that can happen to a team and to a big man is when they shoot a 3 and then they start experiencing temporary success behind the arc. And that temporary success is like bad crack. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's nothing worse. Like when a basketball player in general makes a bad shot, they're likely to think that they can continue to shoot that shot. With the likelihood they'll make it, right? Once they see it works. You can go down the list. There's so many examples that I have. I mean, like Serge Ibaka, for instance, off topic. Serge Ibaka, when he came into the league, he was a rim protector, a post defender, and things like that. Now, if you watch him play, he'll shoot a set shot 3 ever since when he was he won the ring in Toronto, joined the Clippers. Now and then the Bucks. He always shot a 3. Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, he's a proclaimed the greatest shooters, big man in history. I think Bob McAdoo has something to say about that. But you look at a guy who dominated in college, in the paint. He came in the league doing that, and he went from shooting a high post elbow jumper, and now he's shooting 3s. But a lot of that is driven by these metrics also. And a lot of times teams, not only teams play to these metrics and statistics and so forth, but teams also coach towards that data analysis as well. And GMs also teams with the basic model of data analysis as well. So we live in a data-driven league now because we're in a data-driven society at large. And a lot of things and styles of play that when compared to how players used to play before and yesteryear, just aren't the same, because you went off eye test once upon a time. Now it seems like the eye test has less importance than the data does.
Absolutely.
Hey, Salam.
Go ahead.
You know what? When you brought that up about that data and all that stuff, that was Lauri Markkanen's biggest complaint.
Yeah.
He did not want to shoot from the outside as much as they forced him to do.
Right.
That was his big thing. He wanted to play where he was comfortable, on the block. And real quickly, from my years of playing or me coaching and stuff like that, the biggest problem I have with them running that pick and roll for Boosh to pop out and shoot that three, especially if we're going to play Milwaukee. If you're going to run that, Giannis is never going to get in foul trouble.
Ever.
You have him shooting from the three. Now, that's a big that's not under the basket to get a rebound or any kind of deflection or whatever. And it's a long rebound that's going to come off to a guard. We need to put Boosh is more effective down in the paint. Against Giannis, he's going to get a shot blocked a million times, but you know what? They're going to have to blow that whistle sometime.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have a chance in hell to compete with Milwaukee if we do what we've been doing.
I agree.
Well, guys, I'm gonna tell you something
That is 100%
If-
correct. Go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
really quick. These guys aren't gangstering minutes and opportunities for shots from coaches and coaching staff. They're not doing that. These guys are instructed to open the floor up, space and spread the floor, pace and space. These are calculated things that are going on and occurring in a basketball game in March, in November, on Christmas morning. That's what they do in the NBA. That's what they're going to do. They're going to do it on game one. There's going to be a runway to the basket for Giannis and anybody else in Milwaukee. Simply put, if they don't make a wall and stop them from having the runway, I think our biggest question is, why is that such a hard thing to execute, to intellectualize, and why can't these guys translate that and do it on the floor? That's what I have a problem with. It's the basis of what seems to be one-sided posting and texting by me. I don't like the Bulls. I don't like the Bulls. I don't like the way they play. I don't like the way they play defense. I don't like the way they're being coached, given the personnel and opportunities to do better at basketball than they do. I don't like them. 7 wins out of the last 25 games means something. And I want to be as optimistic as everybody else, except I've been around basketball long enough, like Dave has, like you guys have, like Salam has. Obviously, you guys understand the game. 7 out of 25 is 7 out of 25. At this time of the year is this time of the year. We're not talking about how Boston had to recover. Everybody was ready to fire Udoka. Everybody was ready to put Miami away a month ago because the guys wanted to fight each other on the bench. They wanted the coach was going to kick Jimmy's butt and this and that and other. And now they've decided, well, this is just basketball. Let's just play basketball. And we'll let all the posters and all the announcers and all the studio guys talk about the other crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the Bulls guys, and the Bulls don't play basketball right in front of my face. And I'm being reassured by everybody, from my wife all the way to my friends at Chicago Bulls Party Chat, that, hey, rest assured, this is going to be okay. They can do this. We can win. No, you can't, because you don't guard nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a basic tenet of basketball. You got 2 ends of the floor you got to play. If you can't play one of those ends, you will lose. You can't maybe lose. You will lose if you can't score. You will lose if you can't get the ball back so you can score.
Hey,
Mhm.
Coach,
And-
what would you do different right now if you were coaching them? What would you do different
Hold
right
on,
now?
before you answer, Coach, you did mention a team, Boston. And Boston was like, I remember they were languishing like the 9th, 10th seed, somewhere like that. They were in danger of not making the playoffs at all. Then next thing you know, for a time, they shoot up to the number 1 seed. The most slept on trade deadline acquisition that was made was when they got Derek White from San Antonio. And I think,
Brother, let me say, oh man.
you notice when they got Derek White from San Antonio, the ball was out of Jason Tatum's and Jaylen Brown's hands more, and they
received the ball to score. Yes, sir. They received the ball to score. Yes, sir.
And they become. That's what made Boston more dangerous, because Derek.
and they're number 2 in the league in defense.
Exactly. Well, And
Struggle.
you got a guy, Derek White, who was from Coach Pop's, system, who knows how to
Mhm.
defend. Coach Pop doesn't play a point guard who don't defend at the top. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that sent a ripple effect to those wings there. Now Tatum and Jaylen Brown's always been a better defender, I would say, by comparison than Tatum. But Tatum has
Mhm.
improved his defense since Derek White got there.
At 6'10", he better.
Talking about,
Yeah.
yeah, what you're talking about supports what Dave said early in the show, which is we never realized how important Lonzo Ball was to
Mm-hmm.
this team. Because everything that Derek is doing is what Lonzo's basically been doing for us. Because they were even talking about trying to break up that tandem over in Boston prior to him getting over there.
Yeah.
Sure did. But, and it's all predicated on offense. Everything's predicated narrative-wise and media-wise on what you can do with the basketball. LeBron James can average 30 points a game, and he hasn't guarded his bank account in the last year. So and he might not even know he's losing money because he doesn't guard anybody. And
he
their
said-
record reflects that.
Busy trying to get that scoring title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you notice, I don't know if y'all caught it, but I was watching, I didn't watch the last game, but the game before last, I saw the Bulls starting to get into a 2-3 defense. So they're trying to figure something out. And, they got into they're starting to play zone. And I don't know if that's what they're preparing for in the playoffs and stuff like that. But Jay had coach asked, what would you do different or how would you coach them differently? Because I'm looking at Billy Donovan kind of like he's the modern day Doug Collins. There were times where
I agree.
Doug Collins
I agree,
was
Juan.
good for us, but he couldn't get you to the promised land, and that's how Phil got into the mix. And then we brought him back, and he helped the Bulls out. But he's not going to take you to the next level.
Yeah, a lot of fans are looking at Billy sideways right now. Some media people, personnel too. But what would you do different right now, Coach? If you were handed the keys to the kingdom, and you had a good long practice, what changes would you make going into this series?
I at the risk of the wrath and ridicule of J Mac, I would say, in no uncertain terms, whoever it is, and I don't know who this is, by the way. That's how bad they are defensively. Whoever it is that's the czar of the defense, a la Thibodeau and Glenn Rivers. Who is it? Is it Fleming? Is it Cheeks? I forget the other kid's name. Who's the czar? Who's the defensive coordinator on the Bulls? I don't either. As much as I think I know about basketball, I would think that I would be able to identify him. The fact of the matter is nobody has identified this guy. Otherwise, we talk about him all the time.
Yep.
In the last 25 games, we would be lacerating him. And we don't know who it is. So I'm going to assume that it is a guy because it couldn't be Billy. There's no way in the world that Billy is going to walk around with arrogance and not have these guys defend. And if you guys don't see it like that, that's fine. But I look at it as arrogance that this man has decided that he's going to shoot his way out of it with Matt Thomas at times, that he's going to shoot his way out of it by spacing the floor in such a way that, and fours and five initiate offense all the time, guys. They're the last ones down the floor. So it's a half court. You'll see a 4 and a 5 get the ball at the top of the circle, and it's 16 seconds left on the shot clock, and blah, 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 blah. And then they'll dribble handoff or whatever they'll do, weave and everything everybody does until you get to 6, and then you got to. Yeah. I would, to answer your question, Jay, and because I'm taking up time, to answer your question, I would determine right away upon obtaining and kissing the ring of AKME for getting TT and all that kind of stuff. I would determine if he could do this or not, because I'm not convinced that he can stop screen roll. In garbage time, I've seen him hit jump hooks in the last few weeks. I've seen him do some really weird things, and his stat line looks great, except he's no better than Vukovic at playing screen roll. He immediately just drops. You know, it's almost like they're being defensive and playing defense. They drop immediately. Derrick Jones Jr. plays it better than everybody else. Patrick Williams might play it better than everybody else, but you're compromising both of them by having them
At the center.
play the 5 in that situation, because they're actually help defenders and helper defenders.
So
That's what makes them good.
park right there for a second, Coach. Are they so if both players are doing this, are they being told to do this?
They're not being told not to. There's
think
no
they
anywhere
have
they're
to be,
doing
Coach.
that.
I think they have to
Huh?
be. Even Wendell Carter was doing it last year. I think they have to be being
Well,
told.
Wendell
to.
Carter's bad too.
I'm just saying, but
Let's not be confused at what good pick and roll defense is and what bad pick and roll defense is. Let's not be confused about that. What's the other kid's name that's at Washington now? Horrible. He's terrible at screen roll. Have you all watched him? As opposed to saying that dunk was great, and I'm not trying to diminish nobody, but I mean, we look at these guys from the offensive standpoint and don't understand what the Bulls need. I'm not talking about how much we like them offensively, and if everybody on the roster can get 15 points a game, we'll get 135 and win games every day. That's not what's going to happen. He doesn't play like that. The rotation doesn't exist like that. He wants to ISO. He wants to screen roll as well, and you got to go on the other side of the floor. That's my chief complaint. If I was going to change anything for this series, I would have to decide that either Vukovic is going to be on the floor to match Lopez and Portis, or he's not going to be on the floor. And if he's not going to be on the floor, they're going to get their butts kicked in 4 games. So Vukovic's got to play, guys. No choice. The best defense in their case is his offense.
So what would you do different with Vuk is I guess what we're getting at.
I think I just want to say one thing real quick. What I was saying, Coach, is I think somebody said, "Dude, are they telling them to drop?" I think they have to be, because every center that we have is dropping. I mean, even that's why I said even Wendell was doing that. They were all dropping.
Yeah,
And
Tony
Wendell wasn't doing
Bradley
that
do it
before
too.
that.
Bradley do it too, right?
He wasn't a drop center before until last year
Yeah.
when Billy came. So, you know,
I think Tony
So they
Bradley's
have to-
doing
Well, I didn't.
but the-
Well, that could be true. I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen enough of him play NBA basketball in Orlando for me to disagree with that. So he probably did not drop. He probably was more able. He was probably more nimble. He was probably doing inside of a different system, and the approach might have been different. What I
well, yeah, I
see,
mean, even Boylan had him trapping. Remember, like when they had Jim Boylan, he was trapping.
And that's
Jim Boylan
they were
probably
busting his-
Jim Boylan probably recalls some stuff from Popovich. You know, we clowned Jim Boylan because they were bad as a basketball team offensively. So, but we never gave a whole lot of thought to. And I'm being serious here. What Jim Boylan could do as an assistant here defensively with this group. Jim Boylan had bad groups. Wendell Carter Jr. was bad. you guys do understand that, right?
Mhm.
You know, what was the left-handed guy who was our, I think Stacy called him Tragic or whatever his name was. He was terrible defensively.
Yeah.
He was horrible defensively, guys. And I'm not talking about getting a block a game or those false statistics like Russell Westbrook turns it over 3.8 times a game, and that made him the 7th worst guy. Well, there were 6 other guys who everybody thinking better than him that were worse at turnovers. You know, those numbers, Salam just said it. You know, these numbers are paralyzed.
Mhm.
But coach, park there for a second. Jim Boylan is out of a job because he's a clown, and it's not because he. I mean,
Well, he's still an analyst on NBA TV from time to time.
when I say job, I'm talking about a coaching job.
Okay.
But I mean, number one, he went out his way to offend his players and clash with them over silly stuff, and he's not a head coach. Number two, was he good at coaching defense? I don't really know. I don't know. I guess the I guess.
Well, sometimes Barney Rubble attempts to deliver Bobby Knight stuff, and he gets exposed for being Barney Rubble trying to deliver Bobby Knight stuff, and that's what happened to Boylan. Boylan had all the right stuff. He said the right things. He tried to motivate that group of young people who couldn't play into considering doing some things the way basketball players do them. Instead, those guys didn't do well, and that didn't do well for young people like Kobe White, who was trying to learn how to play NBA basketball, or Wendell Carter Jr., who had nobody he could rely on once Lopez left. You know, those guys, all that stuff means something for real. You just simply don't know how to play NBA basketball until you get around NBA basketball players and climate, or culture, whatever word you want to use.
And Boylan screwed, in my opinion, he screwed Wendell Carter up, man. Wendell Carter had a nice little low post game, nice little mid range, and a coach telling a player not to take a mid range or a low post shot. What kind of sense does that make, especially for a 5? That's again.
Well,
that's some of the
I get that. I get that. That is, you know, that's a little bit more than you being convenient. That did happen, and he did do that. But he also said that to Zach. And that was widely.
Exactly. Forget you, man.
Yeah, he did, except Zach shoot more threes than everybody else. So, and Zach shoots, as Stacey says, from time to time, the toughest shots in the league. He is shooting Kobe Bryant shots, and he's not Kobe Bryant. And that, when I say that, when I write that, people are not understanding how I'm characterizing that. I'm talking about the shot selection. I'm not talking about the player. And imagine the player if he had better shot selection.
But Kobe needed not take some of those shots either.
Well, Kobe didn't care, and that's the point. You know, that's not me saluting Kobe necessarily. That's saying that, you know, be careful if you want to imitate that. You know, that might not be the best form of flattery. Okay. On the other side, DeMar DeRozan has decided that between Kobe and maybe Bernard King and some other guys who are just ruthless players at that position,
MJ,
or with the ball in those spots, he's decided to dedicate himself in doing that. And Popovich didn't let him do that either. But he got enough opportunity to score 21 points a game.
He sure didn't. DeMar plays like a modern day Paul Pierce.
He's very good at it too. Absolutely, and much better athlete than Pierce will ever be.
Well, yeah.
And that should be suitable, guys. Why isn't that suitable in the last 25 games? Because they don't guard anybody, you know. And there's no getting around it. If we're not going to put a wall up against this guy from Milwaukee, the Greek Freak, man, we can forget about it. You have to make somebody else. I will live with being in a game under 5 minutes and Middleton got 37 points. I can live with that. And I'll live with it again if Portis got 30 points. But what I can't live with is that runway, man. I can't. And then you get out on the other side of the ball, J Mac. We don't have the guards for what Drew Holiday is getting ready to do. It's getting ready to be. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be a massacre.
Yeah, we really need.
Maybe Ball would be the guy who can remedy that, but we don't have a guy who can remedy that. I'm talking about, let's be legitimate. Let's love on Caruso all we want. Let's rah Ayo all we want. This dude will destroy them, and he did it last week. If we watch the games.
Yeah. So at some point, would you see, or would you put, as far as defensive purposes, would you put Javonte on Drew in spells? No, because you're better served, and he's more valuable playing out of his mind against a Portis or against a Middleton, or down there keeping the ball alive. And activity might not always be achievement, but you better have some activity. And that's what he gives you. He gives you some activity anytime he's on the floor, and you take him off the floor and you don't have that activity anymore, and you can forget about it.
So he's a guy who, on the other hand, Brother Thompson is extolling the 2-3 zone, just like the brother in Toronto does. That coach, he'll throw anything at you in spurts and take possessions away, given the personnel. Billy doesn't do that. Billy wants to instead decide that, we're down 3 or we're up 3 under 2 minutes. I'm gonna put Kobe out there, offense, defense. No, stop. Don't do that no more. Stop that. You know, do you all agree with that?
Yeah.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying.
Kobe is he's a perfect second and third quarter player. Don't put Kobe out there with 5 minutes under the game because you think we got to match 3-point shooters. You got to guard 3-point shooters. You don't match them with 3-point shooters. That's dumb. And it will always be dumb. This is an NBA coach I'm referring to, guys. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's sensibilities about how good of a coach he is. That remains to be seen. He ain't won nothing yet.
I had to look up and see who was the defensive coordinator, and I could not find anything. The only thing that I can see is the natural search results came back talking about Billy Donovan being very concerned about defense, and possibly it might be Maurice Cheeks.
And it wouldn't surprise me if it's Mo. And we're acquainted. I've known him because he's a Hall of Fame cat in Chicago before he got to the NBA, before he went to West Texas State, and we all played against each other and stuff like that. I'm that old; it's terrible. But but I was much younger, and he was a mentor and playing older, and him and Van Leer and all those guys, they kick our butts. The fact that we don't know who that is. It speaks to Salam's also indicating and mentioning that. I'm sorry, guys. I just watched Paul George just light somebody up. It just is crazy. It speaks to the dearth of explanation on what we do defensively. If it's not Fleming, and that's what it was, Salam. You're saying that that little spacing period of time when Fleming was the head coach while Billy was out, what was going on? What happened? What seemed to be the adjustments that were being made offensively? I wonder if they were defensive adjustments without having the games in front of me. I don't remember. You know,
I think so.
They just. We can all agree that they didn't play the top 4 teams that they've gone 0-18 against. So it had to be the Indianapolises and all those guys that they were playing. So let's also understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find nothing on as far as who specializes on defense. I can't find nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That 8-0 Fleming had looked different.
Hey, Coach. Now we probably both have shared this experience. Sometimes you just have a team that just does not do what you tell them to do. And I wonder sometimes, do we need to put that ownership on the players? What if Billy and the staff are trying to get our players to do certain things defensively, and they just don't get it for whatever reason in the world? Like sometimes I look at
I'd hate to believe that that's the case, guys. I really do, but I'm leaning towards they just doing it. You know, that they're literally giving up. I watched it. I watched it a couple of games last week, and I watched them stop playing. And
I'm gonna tell you why I brought that up, because I cannot tell you how many times I have seen Vooch not watching the ball.
Absolutely.
Looking somewhere else, and somebody's coming down the lane, and he's being playing reactively instead of proactively, and this is how they get cut. And he's not the only one. Their heads are turned.
Yeah. Absolutely. That at the levels that we know and we've coached and we've played at and trained at, when big people do that, they're usually not in charge, if you will, of defense. They're not in charge of making calls and they're not comfortable and confident in their weak side help and their backside help. So, you know, they're guys who you see get beat down and dunked on a lot, unless it just happens that they get caught. But those guys who are, you know, they're getting beat, you know, short corner, they're always getting beat, and or somebody's there and they're late, and it makes them look bad. You know, Book looks bad on his own, but a lot of times Book is bad because his help is late, and the helper's help is late.
Always.
And TT playing together with Wook is a bad idea. That's pick and roll layup central. That's a party. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something else.
I wish he played Jones more, guys. I don't know why he doesn't play Jones more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like
got a
Jones.
15-year-old daughter that watches
Everybody's
every game.
wondering that.
Yeah.
I got
Let him
a
foul
15-year-old
out.
daughter that watches every game because she likes
Yeah,
to
let
see
him
who
foul
shoots.
out. Let him foul out every game in this series, but play Jones. Got to play Jones.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got.
you got to go down swinging. If you're going down, you got to go down swinging.
Because
Well,
what
the Bulls
happens
don't
with
box
Jones,
out.
guys? What happens with him offensively? Think about it for a minute. What happens with Jones offensively? He can get 20 a game if he's playing with Chris Paul. If Zoe is there, he needs help scoring. He simply needs help scoring. So when you have a guy like that with that level of athleticism, his capability is all defense, all defensively. You know, if he just plays a help defense in such a way that Boot doesn't drop, and the guy turns the corner and keeps the ball. Holiday keeps that ball. You know, he keeps it, and because Boot didn't drop, he guarded Lopez or he guarded, you know, Giannis or Portis the whole time. And now you got to deal with Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday have a hard time finding those open layups that he found last week because Jones Jr. would be there doing what he does at a 6'6", more than Cabrini Green 6'3". Who that call him Cabrini Green? That's David, right? I like that.
That's fun.
That's David Walker.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, but I was pointing out another thing with this team. They don't box out at all. They do not box out at all, and it drives me crazy.
Well, the NBA doesn't box out, guys. When the last time you see somebody box out in the NBA? I mean, generally speaking, I'm not talking about the good teams that do it. Boston boxes out. They're number 2 in defense because they rebound, and you are not number 2 in defense and rebounding if you don't box out, period. And the other part of that is,
if you ain't going to defend properly, you better box out properly. That's where your weakness is.
Yeah.
Because every team gets second and third chances damn near on every shot.
Yeah,
And
they have to rebound as a group. They can't be relying on Vucevic. They got to all go to the glass. I don't know why they be leaking out. Ain't nobody passing. Lonzo ain't out there to pass. So what they leaking out for? Go to the glass.
Well, because they leak out because they're already in position to team rebound. Because you're shooting, when the team shoots 38% from the three, and that's what they do. I'm talking about any team. Any team shoots 38% from the three as a team. That logically means that they're shooting 62%. They're not hitting 62% of their 3-point shots, and you have to remedy that as a defensive rebound conversion team by making sure that you have guys boxed out down low and you have guys boxed out from the perimeter. Second and third chance points has come from when you're not in position to box out perimeter and down low. It's almost like circling the wagons. You have to. It's literally a systemic approach to team defensive rebounding, and that's the difference between a team being the number 1 team defensively and rebounding and a team being 17. It literally is just, relatively speaking, a handful of rebounds. But it's all predicated on missed shots. You don't rebound made shots. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry for being so redundant about oversimplifying things. Except basketball is really simple, and it's really not hard. But the the tendency is to overextend yourself as a coaching staff on creating the next new mousetrap, when all you got to do is get connected and stay connected to some guys, you know. But the league is scared to death of ISO basketball. They're scared of it because ISO basketball now ends up so much with a guy in the corner hitting a 22-foot 3-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the game now. I'm going to ISO you and I'm going to drive, and a couple of you guys scream about it all the time. If DeMar can just see that and pass off of that, we'll hit those shots. Well, that's all Zero was doing. Lonzo Ball was hitting those shots, man. it was a sight to see. He was hitting corner threes. And, Kyrie Irving just hit a bunch of them tonight. Those shots are there each possession because teams are not going to attach. They're not going to attach to these 3-point shooters. They're going to close out, you know, because if you got that much open floor, everybody beats everybody 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And then DeMar coming downhill, you know they're going to they're going to collapse. So
well, they got to short team him, James, because he can score. He will beat you, and nobody's going to stop him 1-on-1. It's just they're not going to. He's just this time of his career, he understands.
Well, that's him or Zach. Nobody's going to stop Zach 1-on-1, but they're going to collapse regardless. So that, to your point, that lends opportunity for shooters. But the shooters got to knock down the shots too, though, Coach.
They sure do. In the meantime, the difference between a 38% 3-point shooter and a 37% 3-point shooter is over magnified by broadcasters and sportcasters and some analysts.
That's funny.
You know,
38, 37. Yeah, that's funny.
It's terribly funny. It's terribly funny. The league leader in 3-point percentage is a guy who probably has 130 3-point attempts, you know, and it stands to reason that he's not going to shoot 48% if he gets 500 more. He's just not going to, you know, because taking away somebody's strength in the NBA is rule number one in today's NBA. You got to take them away. And they've done that with Steph Curry. They'll do that with this kid that I'm watching now, who's shot about 8 threes already, Edwards, from Minnesota. They're going to take that away.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Ja's game is kind of lucid. He can do a lot of things.
Wait until he starts really shooting the three. It's going to be crazy. He's going to be what we wanted Derrick Rose to be the first couple of years, and even the MVP year. That guy who could go from 44% to 49% because he gets the three. You know, Derrick didn't hit the three, guys. He just did. He shot it to keep you off balance, but he just didn't hit it.
Well, he didn't shoot a lot of them either. So I guess.
Yeah, and he didn't hit a lot of them either.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't hit a lot of them, you guess you're not going to shoot a lot of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, literally, a 38% 3-point shooter and a 32% 3-point shooter is a matter of relativity. If you shoot 100 threes, you'll hit 38 of them. If you shoot 100 threes and you're 32%, you hit 32% of them. In what context of the game, in what part of the game did you hit those shots? You know, some guys hit big threes. Other guys just hit threes in the floor of the game. Matt Thomas hasn't hit one yet, so nobody wants him to be on the roster for the playoffs.
I think Salam will be able to attest that Russell Westbrook could take 32% right now, wouldn't he, Salam?
Oh, no, I'm cool on Russ.
I'm a Russ fan, guys, so we can talk about that another time. I'm a fan of any guy that decides to play hard all the damn time.
Well, yeah, I like playing hard. Don't get me wrong, but Russ is delusional. If he doesn't know why, he gonna talk about he don't know what Coach Vogel's problem with him was.
Well, Coach Vogel's problem was that he didn't run the show, and if Coach Vogel ran the show, we wouldn't be talking about this.
No. Russ said they asked Russ something, and then
I saw the quote. I know what you're talking about. I saw the quote.
Some of them,
Yeah,
he
and
don't know why coach had a problem with him or something or some weird stuff. And I'm like, dude, did you see how you played all year? I mean, what Twilight Zone is this guy from?
I mean,
well,
that's the
he had
system.
the same.
That's the system. I mean, he's
Well, he had the
playing
same problem. He had the same problem everybody else on the Lakers had. But nobody admitting nothing. they were 16 games under 500 for the year. What are they going to admit? You know?
But actually, what happened is Vogel said that in his offense, anybody can bring the ball up. That means LeBron.
Right.
That means AD. And Russ,
Right.
like, well, wait a minute, I'm the point guard. So that set off the conflict right from Jump Street.
Yeah, it's amazing that the head coach and the GM even had a discussion before they decided they was going to listen to the player and acquire a player. How did all that happen? How does that occur? You know, that's like my wife introducing the idea to me that she bought a Doberman Pinscher and the Doberman Pinscher already lives here. And I didn't know it until I walked downstairs and this dog growled at me. You know, how am I going to reconcile that? And that's what I look at when I look at the Lakers.
So yeah.
know?
So that comes the territory of some GMs caving into LeBron. I think the only GM that did not cave into LeBron was Pat Riley, and but that's it. All the rest of them they let LeBron do whatever. Say, you know, hey, you want this guy? Okay, you know, you don't want that guy. That's why they don't have. That's why they didn't have DeMar. You know, that's why they didn't have AC. They had all those old guys because LeBron want to play with all his buddies. Keep that energy. You guys keep that same energy. Keep that same.
Yeah,
I'm not going to hate on that move because you bring in a player that had been averaging a triple double multiple years in a row. You know, I can see why anybody would be enticed with that.
Yeah.
But Will, have you watched Russell play at all before?
I watched it, and I'm gonna tell you something. You got the other players on the team. When they miss, they hit the front of the rim or the back of the rim. And when Russell missed, he's hitting the side of the backboard. They all miss. It just looked worse.
Well,
a missed shot is a missed shot.
Yeah, I'm saying.
It's a missed shot.
I'm saying prior to this year, I've never wanted Russ on any team that I was hoping to be my favorite team or wanted to build. I never wanted that dude because I always felt that his stats were what do you call it? Stat stuffing. Yeah, I've seen the centers clear out. I've seen the power forwards clear out so Russ can come in and get the rebound. The dude is wild. He plays fast. Even Shaq said you see that clip Shaq cussed him out, told him he was playing too fast.
So he's a ball dominant guard. He went to LA and he could not dominate that ball. And he don't know how to play but one way. And he's not they're not allowing him to be who he is. And I agree with you.
He said that
it probably does not work if you want to win.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he's going to get these stats if you got the ball in your hand all the damn time. And nobody else is touching. But now you got to go over there and play with LeBron, who you're going to have to share.
Right.
No, you're not going to share. No, you're not going to share. That's the problem. You're not going to share. You're going to be forced to decide that in any particular possession, one of those guys is going to have the ball with 7 seconds left, and it's going to render the other guy useless. And how can you play basketball like that? You know, if you don't have ball man movement, you're going to have a problem playing basketball. And I don't care if one of the guys is going to be, challenging another guy for GOAT status, and the other guy has averaged a triple-double and gotten a couple of MVPs. None of that matters. One ball is just one ball. And that's it, and that's that. That's not going to change because you load up you bring Chris Paul in too, and you bring in this guy from Houston too, and hell, we don't care about a salary cap. Let's get John Wall, and then let's just keep doing it and keep doing it, and like you're getting ready to juggle 3 balls. Like balls are increasing with players. It's not. And LeBron James will not go in the post. He will not be a power forward. He's not going to do it.
And he should.
And he can't move.
At this stage of the career, he should. And you know what's funny too, Coach? And I I know some people don't like Skip Bayless, but he said
I love
LeBron.
Skip Bayless, by the way.
I think he's hilarious, but he said LeBron
Yeah,
does
it's
not,
funny.
he said LeBron does not want to take that last shot because he is afraid of failure. But he says it more in a funnier way. And he said LeBron would pass that. LeBron would pass that ball to Russ with 7 seconds on the clock, and
You better
we've
believe
seen
it.
him do it.
What
Because he's done it and he does it, you know, and some kind of way that extrapolates itself into somebody is not good or somebody is bad all the time. And the fact of the matter is, it's still just one ball, you know.
Well, Shaq
Why
said-
not work
Shaq
as hard
said
as
it
you
best,
can to
though.
make sure?
Shaq
Yeah,
said it best that like no way should 3 top 75 players of all time be on the team and not even make the playoffs. You know,
But are they really top 75 players, guys? Are they really? Wait a minute. Are we really just getting ready to? We pull that plum from low hanging trees. Are we really going to decide that the guy from Portland is a top 75 player?
I believe LeBron is. I don't believe that Russ is
Russell
top
AD,
75.
no.
That's my
But which
opinion.
is why the only thing that's been exciting on TV that was Lakers was winning time. You know, that's the only thing I've been watching. As far as now.
I'm about to watch that in this damn Zoom.
I gave in and watched a couple of the episodes this weekend, guys. It's actually fairly entertaining.
It's
I mean,
good.
if you,
To see Jerry West go completely bonkers is funny.
I guess if we go back over since we kept up with the great players of the league, would any of you guys put Russ in the top 75?
No.
No,
Because I sure wouldn't.
no.
I understand
No.
why they did.
And I know exactly what you're going to say, Dave. Of course, we're dealing with today's narrative of what an NBA basketball player is, given all the fighting about bigger, stronger, faster athletes. Who when you talk about that, and then you look at Luka and you look at Joker, and you know what I'm saying? Bigger, stronger, faster, or more athletic.
Russ
Jokic?
Russ and AD
Luka?
only in one NBA Finals each. That's not top 75.
Yeah, Russ ain't
I agree 100%.
and AD ain't got.
I think he made it because of those triple doubles that he averaged for those multiple years.
Yeah.
That's why they did that. I mean,
Well, we giving guys a lot of credit for doing all this stuff on bad teams too.
Right.
You can't.
That's what I was going to say, Coach.
I can't get Damon doesn't get that credit from me for doing all that stuff on Portland. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, AD doesn't have that.
You're not fortifying winning.
AD doesn't have that body of work either, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying AD's
Not at
talent.
all.
I'm not saying AD doesn't have the talent. He got the talent. To me, he doesn't have the work ethic. He doesn't have the drive to keep himself healthy, to whatever it is he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? But as far as talent, yeah, but the body of work is not there. He's got one chip.
Giannis is doing what AD should be doing.
Exactly.
yeah.
And Giannis is just not learning how to shoot.
I think it's something that players that are playing right now, I think that's just premature to put them as the top 75.
I
I
agree.
think they got to wait their turn. You know, once their whole body of work.
Except for like LeBron. And,
Right.
So, yeah.
When you think about it, though, Will, they put Shaq in the top 50, and he was only in his fifth or sixth year.
Yeah, but you know what? And I would
But you had a guy who was just not being stopped by anybody, you know, and so there was no reason to speculate that somebody was going to suddenly stop Shaq after he got that jacket, you know.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen, and nobody was coming down the pike. Nobody saw Tim Duncan coming at that point.
Yeah, I would go with LeBron, but I will also go with Steph only because he's changed. He's definitely changed the game.
Changed the
So,
game.
I can see that as far as Steph is concerned.
KD.
KD, yeah, you gotta, yeah, KD's a dog, so you gotta put that dog in there.
I feel like T-Mac should have been in there as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen 75 people better than T-Mac.
No.
And that's the other thing, guys. And I'm gonna ask Will this, because I believe you and I have this characteristic alike. Can you imagine doing this list all over again by watching guys play without scoreboards and without jerseys with numbers on them, and just the eye test of looking at a player? How many players you think you can? How many players can you take off of this 75 team? I'm thinking I could take 30 of them off.
I was going to say 25.
Yeah, I could take 30 of those guys off.
So if they didn't have numbers, who you be like, oh, what that guy doing out there, huh?
So, Coach, I think
The problem is the problem is you can only stick them against the guys they played against.
Right.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
You can't say that Bob Pettit would outplay Karl Malone. You can't say that. You don't know.
Right.
But hold on, Coach. Bob Pettit gave Bill Russell 50 in a game 7.
He gave everybody 50 though. Bob Pettit was a bad man, but you can't say that because of that.
7 in the finals, like
Yes, sir.
They beat Boston in the finals.
Yes, sir.
And he
Yes,
gave,
sir.
He put
Yes, sir.
50 on Bill's head.
You
Yes,
know
sir.
what-
Bob Pettit legit.
You know what's interesting, and on you guys on that topic because I there's some older games that come up and some all-star games, and Tom Chambers. I used to dog that dude, but now looking at Tom Chambers then and looking at what these dudes doing now, Tom Chambers would be out here killing those
He'll
dudes.
be working dudes, yeah.
He be out here killing dudes right now.
Oh, yeah.
He's in top 20 right now.
Yeah,
he
and
would be
it's
working
like
these guys.
and it's like the work ethic that you had to, because I think who said it best was somebody said it. He said you in the 80s and you coming in the 80s, you had to have some skill. You had to have some kind of, you had to be working on something. You couldn't just be a dude.
Well,
out
playing hard is a skill.
there. That's
Now,
one
You play
thing,
hard, that's a skill.
but it's some things you had to be able to do.
Now, hold on now.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. The one of the arguably the greatest All-Star game that ever was played was 1987. If you go back and look at it, that whole game is on YouTube.
87.
Okay. Now you know who was
Yeah.
MVP in that game?
Which game was that? That's Tom Chambers?
The Tom Chambers was MVP. So
Mhm.
Tom Chambers not some kind of mill cat. He has some skill, but at the same time, and I get into a lot of discussions with LeBron fans and with and with Kareem and Magic fans and so forth when they are discussing Jordan's watered down competition and things.
Right.
And
They always try to do that. Yeah.
But you look at the '87 Lakers, okay? But that team is arguably record-wise one of the greatest teams ever. But here's a kicker that nobody brings up about that team. They didn't play a 50-win team in the playoffs until they got to the finals and
Right.
played Boston.
Right.
Okay.
Well, who did they play? I don't remember.
Huh?
I don't
what's that?
remember. Who did they play? Who did they play?
Oh, I'm gonna go down.
Is that when there was only 2 rounds?
Check
Was
it.
there
Check
only
it.
2?
Now, they were number 1 seed. Now, in the first round, they played Denver, who won 37 games.
Okay.
Okay. The second round, they played Golden State, who upset Utah, who won
Okay, that's
46
why.
games. Then the third round, in the conference final, who the hell has a conference final opponent when you're a 65-win team and you're playing a team that won 39 games? They two of the teams that they played in that championship run didn't even win 40 games. But you want to see people want to see here in shadow box the competition that Mike had.
And I
Who was
told
the 39-win team in it? Was it Seattle? Who
The
was it
Seattle was
played?
they made because Seattle knocked off Houston that year, and Houston knocked off the Lakers the year before.
Right.
So Seattle
Ralph
was good,
Sampson.
but record wise, they were the 39 and 43.
Oh,
let's
wow.
keep it real,
39
Salon.
and 43 is not going to get you to the lottery these days, right?
But Salon, let's keep.
Now here's,
let's keep-
hold on, I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you. At 39, here's some perspective about that 39 and 43 team, right?
That's playing.
What was the Bulls record that year that they got swept by Boston? 40 and 42, one game better than the Seattle Sonics, who went to the conference finals in another conference.
But that was the East then. Just like this year. This year, the East, as strong as it looked a month and a half ago, everything leveled out. That's what happens with 500 teams, guys. I didn't make any friends saying that with anybody, except if you're 500 teams, it'll show in the second half of any season. And, you know, and you'll end up with your final record. The Bulls were very fortunate when they were stacking wins. Like I said, just stack these wins now, and you got to minimize your L's. And that is what you have to do under any circumstances. These circumstances of this COVID and losing players, the regular injuries that can happen at any point, and all that stuff. You know, this is the most dramatic, barring shortening seasons for COVID season that I've seen in a long time. Now, the one Salam's talking about, I completely forgot about how brutal it was to watch basketball in the West, just waiting for Boston and the Lakers to play each other. Essentially, that's what you were doing.
So
But they want to act like
Or
the
somebody surprising you one year.
Lakers were playing Giants.
Yeah.
The Lakers wasn't playing no Giants in the West.
yeah, so
You're right.
So Salam and I, we be having these arguments in other groups, and it always come in. I always come back hard because most of the ones that come out like that are Laker fans, and I always come hard, hit hard, and I say you Lakers ain't had no competition in the '80s.
They had none. And
They had none, no competition. All the competition was in the East. And the Lakers had no competition in the West, and y'all gonna sit here and try to talk about Michael had it easy. Get out of here, man.
The Bulls had the 8th.
Hey, but you know what? I want to circle back to.
The Bulls had.
coach was
I'm gonna
asking
let you finish, Will. But the Bulls had the
Yeah, go
8th. Get this. The Bulls had the 8th seed in 1987 and finished one game better than a conference final team in the West in Seattle. Picture that. Picture that.
It's crazy.
They were
It's
one
crazy.
game better.
They was one game better than the Seattle Sonics, who made it to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers in '87.
Man, Utah always been weak. Damn. Anyway,
It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Matchups play a factor. But
But the
but, you know,
matchup
I'm
thing,
glad
the
you bring
matchup
that
thing
up,
never
though.
works in the Bulls' favor though, in Michael's favor, because like they always come up with like expansion. I just saw when they redid the 75th commemoration when they had Brooklyn and New York playing. And then they changed like how it looked in the 60s and 70s and 80s throughout the game. They flashed on screen. Did you know that there were 8 expansion teams in the 70s?
Yep. It sure was.
Yeah.
You have to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
there were what? There were
oh, the
there were
NBA
10 or
team.
11 before 1972.
Right. And then you had the
Yeah.
merger, which added more teams from the ABA. You know,
Oh, you weren't counting that.
was that?
Were you counting that merger? When you said that you weren't counting the merger?
I don't think they counted the merger when they did it. I was going to research that myself, but because you had the merger in '76, but there were 8 expansion teams in the NBA.
And teams left cities to go to other cities. KC Omaha went to, and Cincinnati Royals went to, and blah 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 blah. So when you think about it, almost 40 cities have been involved in the NBA since 1962. Just for the sake of putting a number up.
Yeah, the Hawks left there and went to Atlanta. Yeah.
That's why.
and then
As
toss
much
in
as
the
I
fact that
respect and love Bill Russell, like when you talk about these 75 top players and all this stuff, and I'm looking at some of these old players that are on the list. I mean, if you look back at some of them games, it's almost like watching.
You freezing up. You're freezing up, Will.
Bill Russell's the size of a
You
small.
lost your
forward.
audio. I think you lost your audio.
They're small forwards who's Bill Russell's size today.
Yeah, try it now. Try it now. Try it now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Bill Russell had the guts of that you West guys today had. So they could get in here and actually play against LeBron and not get out the way and create these runways for him and Giannis and all those guys. Guys aren't built like that anymore. They're getting paid too much money.
here's the thing.
They're getting paid too much